Rouse's Markets is voted best grocery store in New Orleans, best grocery store in Baton Rouge, Mississippi, Gulf Coast, Thibodeau, Houma, Hammond, Lake Charles, Mobile, year after year. Thank you for choosing us best grocery store on the Gulf Coast. Number one. Thank you.
Thank you.
The number one grocery store
In Mississippi, Alabama,
Louisiana. 1 million customers a week can't be wrong. Welcome to Rouse's.
Hello and welcome back to this edition of Bayou Time. I'm your host, Keith Whiteside, licensed clinical social worker with Terrebonne Home Care. Very glad you're joining us. However you may be joining us, we appreciate it. And now we're going to turn our attention to Lonnie Cavalier over with Assumption Parish Sheriff's Office. Man, Mr. Lonnie, y'all have been awfully busy.
Yes, busy night, busy afternoon yesterday.
I know it. All right, let's start with some of these traffic incidents and some of these arrests. We'll start off with Ms. Dabney, I think.
Okay, on yesterday afternoon, Tyson Marie Dabney, 45, at 3217 Highway 70 Pierpont, was arrested following a traffic stop on LA 70 West near Pankerville. Dabney was a passenger in the vehicle, and the deputy became suspicious after observing Dabney moving swiftly about in the interior of the car. A female deputy was summoned to the scene and conducted a protective pat-down search and a body cavity search. During that process, a quantity of methamphetamine was seized from the person of Tyson Marie Dabney. Tyson Marie Dabney was arrested and booked into the Assumption Parish Detention Center on charges of possession of methamphetamine. Dabney was out on bond for 2 previous drug arrests and is a 3-time convicted felon. She remains incarcerated without bond at this time.
Wow. So very interesting. Again, so very glad to have a female sheriff's officer available to go and do that and complete that search according to our policies and guidelines. So glad to be able to do that. Let's start with our second one. I think it's Bruce Knockham.
Yes, Bruce J. Knockham, 63 and 125 Jones Street, Napoleonville, was arrested yesterday afternoon on multiple felony charges arising from a Wednesday afternoon traffic stop on LE 308 near Pankerville. An ICE assigned deputy observed the vehicle with an equipment violation, attempted a stop of the vehicle, but the suspect driver continued on for a distance, and in doing so was tossing items from the vehicle. The vehicle was eventually stopped. The deputy observed suspected methamphetamine scattered about within the capsule of the driver's compartment. A K-9 was summoned to the scene, conducted an open-air sniff of the suspect vehicle, and alerted positive for the presence of controlled dangerous substances. A search of the vehicle resulted in the seizure of a quantity of methamphetamine. Bruce J. Knockham was arrested and booked into the Assumption Parish Detention Center on charges of possession of methamphetamine, obstruction of justice, resisting an officer, resisting arrest by flight, illegal window tint, tail lamps required, and failure to drive on the right side of the roadway. Bruce J. Knockham remains incarcerated at this time without bond having been set.
Very good. I appreciate him being off the streets. Let's turn our attention to another ICE arrest as we go to Mr. Jarrett McKinley, Grove, Seminole.
Yes, on night before last, Jarrett McKinley, Grove, Seminole, 31 of Donaldsonville, and Caitlin Alicia Setatow, 29 of Pierpont, were arrested following a traffic stop on LE 308 near Belrose. Deputies observed a northbound vehicle on 308, and both the driver and passenger were not wearing seat belts. The deputy stopped the vehicle and interviewed both Seminole and Setatow and determined that further investigation was warranted. Deputies obtained consent to search the suspect vehicle. During that search, a significant amount of methamphetamine was seized. Seminole and Setatow were arrested and booked into the Assumption Parish Detention Center on charges of possession of methamphetamine with intent to distribute, possession of drug paraphernalia, and no seatbelt. Caitlin Alicia Setatow is a previously convicted felon. Both remain incarcerated pending bond hearings.
Wow. Lot of stuff happening, a lot of methamphetamine that y'all are getting off the street, which is really good news. All right, next one, Mr. Yasmin Carranza.
Yes, Yasmin Carranza, 29 and 153, Rain Court in Bayou, was arrested on felony charges related to the non-consensual disclosure of a private image and violation of protective orders. On October 27, deputies made contact with the complainant, who indicated she had been in a relationship with Yasmin Carranza and that the relationship ended. At some point, Yasmin published extremely personal photos he obtained of the victim during their relationship and posted those photos to social media. Carranza was arrested and booked into the Assumption Parish Detention Center on charges of 2 counts of non-consensual disclosure of a private image, violation of a protective order, and a detainer was issued by U.S. Immigration. He remains incarcerated in the Assumption Parish Detention Center and ordered held without bond.
All right, and our last one, because 5 is good enough. Let's talk about Mr. Michael J. Coleman.
Okay, Michael J. Coleman, 33 of 3211 West Park Avenue in Gray, Louisiana, was arrested following a traffic stop on LA 308 south of Napoleonville. A uniformed patrol deputy stopped Coleman for improper lane usage. It was further determined that Coleman was driving under a suspended driver's license. Due to observations by the deputy, he requested consent to search. During that search, a 9mm handgun was seized. Michael J. Coleman was determined to be a prior convicted felon and therefore could not legally possess a firearm. Coleman was arrested and booked into the Assumption Parish Detention Center on charges of possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, driving under a suspended license, driving on roadway lanes for traffic. Michael J. Coleman posted a $50,000 commercial bond.
Whew, that was a mouthful. Commander, we appreciate it very, very much. Thanks again for such a great teamwork and letting us know about this information and getting these people held accountable for their actions. We appreciate it.
Thank you guys for having us.
All right. We'll talk again soon. All right. And again, that's Commander Lonnie Cavalier of Assumption Parish Sheriff's Office, their chief information officer. Very glad to get that information. All right, guys, that'll do it for this particular segment, but don't go anywhere. A whole lot more right here on Bayou Time.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by South Louisiana Bank. It's better when we bank together. Waits and Downer, attorneys at law. Terrebonne Ford, built Ford tough.